Hi guys, it's a new week, so there's a new bandwagon for Kemi Badenoch to jump upon, and this time it's the protest taking place outside ex-hotels housing asylum seekers. Now, she was in Epping where she was meeting members of the public, it seems, asking them about the protests, about what's happening, about the hotels, and she interviewed this guy was speaking to her, who sounds very much like a Conservative Party activist, and I'll explain why in just a moment.
I hear this question a lot directed at protesters. What do you suggest otherwise? Where would you put them? That's not an Epping resident question to answer.
It's not your problem.
So let's not deflect the emphasis and the responsibility away from a government who on day one in power removed the Rwanda deterrent. Let's not shift the burden onto local people to problem solve and come up with solutions.
We shouldn't have to.
It's this government. So that's the. I think when I'm on the protest, I do hear that a lot. So what would you do differently?
Yeah.
That's not for us to deal with differently
exactly.
in terms of Epping residents.
Exactly.
What's the government doing? So shift the burden back onto them.
Exactly. I think you're 100%
right. Yes.
100%.
Okay, so Kemi Badenoch obviously found another bandwagon to jump on, and it's these protests taking place outside ex-hotels. Now, let me start off by saying I believe this guy is a Conservative Party member or activist, or maybe he's a councillor, because he's using the language of deterrent. Rwanda was a deterrent and the new government got rid of it. Rwanda was not a deterrent. Rwanda was a joke. The only people who believed Rwanda would work and still think it would work are the Conservatives. So I highly doubt that this is a random member of the public. Now, when it comes to these protests, I think Kemi Badenoch and the Conservatives are playing a very stupid game. I keep saying the more you talk about immigration, the more you're going to drive people into the arms of Reform UK and Nigel Farage. Because, as I keep saying, people who are concerned about immigration will want to vote for somebody who will actually fix it, or who they believe will fix it. Now, the Conservatives were in power for 14 years. Towards the end of that time, immigration skyrocketed, both legal migration and so-called illegal migration. So how can the Conservatives come in at the last minute and say, hey, you should vote for us, we're actually going to deal with it now? Why would anyone who cares about bringing down the numbers vote for the Conservative Party? Vote for Kemi Badenoch? You know, I've said before, if the Conservatives want to do a turn the page on this, they need to come up with a new leadership. They need to come up with somebody fresh, somebody who's not connected to the previous administrations. And Kemi Badenoch obviously is. So what is she trying to sell to the public here? Don't vote for Nigel Farage and Reform. We will actually fix it. But you were in power and you didn't fix it. She thinks that she's going to take votes away from Labour, or criticise the Labour Party, criticise them on immigration, so that means that people will naturally vote for the Conservatives instead. It doesn't work like that anymore. There was a time where it was Labour in power, then the Conservatives, then Labour, then the Conservatives, or whatever. But it's not going to be like that in the future. It's looking more and more likely that Reform UK will form a government a majority, or they'll be part of a coalition. But it's looking more and more likely that they will be in power. And the more you talk about immigration, the more you help Reform UK. I'm no fan of the Conservative Party, as you know. But if I was giving them advice, I'd tell them to say nothing about immigration. It's the worst thing you can be talking about, because it's the real issue that's driving people in the direction of Farage. So the more you talk about it, maybe people within the Conservative Party honestly think if we keep talking about immigration, it's going to take votes away from Labour. No, it will take votes away from Labour, but they will go to Reform. They will not go to the Conservatives. You are associated with failure. And the biggest failure for people on the right is immigration. So why the heck do you keep talking about it? Why do you think going to these protests will actually help the Conservatives? Because you're showing solidarity or something? These people are not going to vote for you. They're going to vote for somebody who's saying that they will stop the boats, who will close the borders, who will deport all the so-called illegal migrants. When you say it, all they hear is rhetoric. When Farage says it, they actually believe he will achieve it. Of course he won't, but he hasn't been tested. So people are willing to give him the benefit of the doubt. They're not going to give the Conservatives the benefit of the doubt. I really don't understand, honestly, why the Conservatives keep latching on to immigration. Every time a conservative's on Talk TV or GB News, they're talking about immigration. And you could almost see the votes slipping away towards reform. It's gold every time the conservatives talk about migrants or small boats or anything like this, because they're associated with failure on that issue. Associated with every issue. They're associated with failure on every issue. But when it comes to immigration, for people on the right who are considering Farage, they're going to vote for him. And there's nothing you can do about it. You would actually be better off not talking about immigration. But maybe the party is just too stupid. Let me know in the comment section, guys, what you think, and I'll see you in the next video.